See, the problem is, well, there is no problem. Or is there a problem? How you want to say this? See, I think starting has never been your problem. It's how you finish that is what your issue is. So you don't have a starting problem, you have a finishing problem. And the reason why we can say that, because all of us have been in a place where we have started off strong or something and we slowly just drift off. We keep on thinking of new ways how to do something, but we never finish it because in the process of doing it, we start thinking of other ways to do in order to get to that objective or that goal. But because we keep on overthinking things, we never get to it. So today I want to talk to you about creating a return system, not a restart or reset system mindset. In other words, I want you to stop looking at how I can start over, but find the momentum to return to where you left off at and move forward from there. You know, most of the times we find ourselves in a place where we start and stop because leaves, focus leaves, our desire leave, or maybe our commitment, because our commitment may have been based off in someone else's interaction with us, and our drive and our motivation comes from their input or others' contribution. But we have to stop that. We have to create a cycle that we're engaged with this start system, that we're engaged enough to say, you know what, moving forward, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I meet my objectives and my goals, but I need to strategize. We need to come with a plan how to keep the momentum going in those tough times. So what we need to do is try to figure out a way to create and eliminate this start stopping cycle. Because if you look back over and if you listen to this video, this is you. You have started really strong, you stop. You start again and you stop. And you start again and you stop. But when you start and stop and start and stop, you find yourself not going back where you returned to, but you're starting all over. And because you're starting all over, you're causing a loop. And this loop keeps on going around and around, and you get caught up in it because you haven't realized that what you need to do is stop, take a breather, and sit back and say, okay, make some plans, make some decisions, find your motivation, find your focus, find your decision making moments, and move forward from there. Understand that everything is not going to be done in some of these short time frames that you create. Sometimes you have to expand it out, and sometimes it's too long. You need to have these quick bursts, but that all comes with your planning. See, most people, instead of restarting, they fail to get to a return place. They keep going back over to the very beginning. And I want to encourage you to find like a return point, a point right here. If I'm going to start and I find myself drifting, this is my stopping point. I put a tag in there. This is where I was at. It's not that I'm giving up on it, but I realize there's some more reviewing, there's some more analyzation, or there's some more thoughts. There may be a new way of reforming my motivation, but I'm not going back to the beginning. I'm at my start point. My stop point. And this stop point is not my finish line. This is a place where I'm gathering, I'm refocusing, I'm getting myself. Now, hit the button, restart, resume. It's no different than you looking at a video at home. You know, if you start looking at it and somewhere you have to get up something, so you pause it, you record it where you were left off at, so when later on you can come back and resume there. But this is what I want to introduce to you. There are going to be times where we're just high focus and wherever we're going to be running, and all of a sudden it's just a boom, a quick and a blunt stop. And that becomes a place of struggle for some of us. But now, if we understand this is just a place where we gather ourselves, refocus, get back in line and in tune, then we can move forward. So we got to focus on this in a way that we got to make sure that we're driving with reasonable expectations and not looking for perfection. Because a lot of us stop and start based off and we're trying to make things perfect. And that's going to be one of our fallbacks. Everything is not going to be perfect. There are some things that's going to line up in line, and there's some things that's just going to be a little raggedy. And you have to adjust to that. You can't sit back and think everything you do is going to be perfect. Everything is not going to go from 1 to 10. Sometimes it's going to go 1 to 5, and it may drop to 1 to 2, and it may not even get to 5. But guess what? You got momentum going. And if you can see the momentum going, you'll be able to keep on processing. Remember, everything is not a sprint. Some things are marathon. Some things is walking. Sometimes it's a crawling. But eventually you'll pick up the momentum that's needed to get to the finish line. It doesn't matter how you get to it as long as you get there. And if you have to stop 4 or 5 times to get there, fine. But as long as you're not going back to the beginning line over and over and over again. Now, there are times, family, I'm going to tell you and be honest with you, that you're going to have to go back to the starting line because of the way that you shot off. Like you see a sprinter. Sometimes they have that gun, they go, pow, you take off, you jump off too quick. Then you have to go back and reset and do it again and then get off in the timing. Well, sometimes you have to do that to reset yourself. But there's too many of us that are starting something, and as soon as we start, we give up on it and we finish. We want to make sure that you understand where your reset point is. Resetting, not restarting. Reset, where you're going to a certain place, and right here is your part that you have to stop, and maybe you need to reevaluate your decisions. Maybe you need to redefine the direction that you're going in. Maybe you need to re-engage. That's your reset point. And you move on again. And then, hey, you stop again. Another point to reset, to evaluate what your current position is. Keep on going. The goal of this is to keep moving forward to get to that finish line, whatever that finish is for you. But you have to start off at the very beginning with a true understanding of what your expectations are, your goals and objective to reach this final verdict, or whatever it may be, whatever this finish line is. If you start off, wrong, and not set these guidelines, then you're setting yourself to have these stop and start moments a little more irregular than regular. Because we're saying our reset points are places where we get to refocus and redefine our decision as we move forward. Not a place where we sit there and we put a pin in the wall and we say, hey, we're going to start something else, so we're never going to come back to this. And next thing you know, it's now thrown off as something that was never accomplished. And now it sits back in back of mind, something we failed. So, till I talk to you again, keep up the good work. Later.